What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Caitlin Kenneth Smith, and today's episode is special. A few weeks ago, I was on Marco's podcast from Silverback Media, and today we're flipping that script and diving into the real stories behind why CrossFit changes people's lives far beyond the gym. Marco joins me for a conversation that went way deeper than sets, reps, or PRs. We talk about unlocking new standards, why people fear success more than they feel failure, how CrossFit becomes a proving ground for every hard thing in your life, and why the world would genuinely be a better place if more people trained this way. This episode is for the everyday athlete, the comeback stories, the people who want to get better, and the ones who haven't started yet because they think they're too old, too out of shape, or just not ready. You'll hear stories from Everest climbs to first pull-ups, from big PRs to tiny wins that change everything, and why showing up consistently can literally rewrite the rest of your life. So let's get into it. Marco, welcome to the Powerhouse Mentality this time. And for those of you who don't know, I was on Marco's podcast. What was it, like a month ago, maybe at this point?
Yeah, just about. Yeah. It's been a couple weeks since that one came out, and that one got a lot of awesome feedback. It was really cool to see that one and how it took off. So I appreciate you coming on, and now it's going to be weird to be on the other side. What did Michael Scott say, right? My, how the turns have tabled. So
Yes, that is the best way to put it,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So first things first, tell the people who you are, what you do. Like if I was your Uber driver and I turned around and I said, hey, who are you? What do you do? What would you tell me?
Oh, goodness. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, first things first, before we get into anything else, we got to start the way we need.
I already opened mine because I'm a little bit like, I was going to wait and then I couldn't. So I have Ghost Warheads Black Cherry. What do you got today?
I've got Ghost Sour Patch Kids Blue Raspberry.
Ooh, very good. That one's, that one's going away. It's going away.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'm so glad I picked one up. I was at the grocery store with my 6-year-old daughter yesterday, and I had her pick for me. So it was between.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that would be the 6-year-old one. Yep.
Yeah. It was a good choice. Okay. Enough dodging the question. So, the best way I would describe myself is I am an eternal optimist, if you want to call it that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like to think through things in terms of how can I leave any situation that I'm in better than I found it. And then that goes into like all the other things that I do that kind of, cascade up to that, right? So, I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids. So I've got, my 6-year-old that I was just talking about, and then a 3-year-old son. Married. I've got a, full-time corporate gig that I try not to talk about too much because it's just way less interesting than all the other stuff. Outside of that, I mean, the rest of what I do, or kind of what I will say a lot of my time revolves around, is doing CrossFit, coaching CrossFit, being as involved in our gym community as I can be, and then I have a podcast like you mentioned as well, right? That's all the kind of the whole piece of it is revolving around trying to get more people to do CrossFit and lowering the barrier of that quote unquote intimidation that people may feel if they're just searching the interwebs. But yeah, I think I would kind of, if I wanted to summarize it, I would say I am the guy that's always looking at the bright side. Mm-hmm. And almost to an annoying level, right? Like I've had groups of friends tell me before, like, you're not allowed to, like, you have to ask for permission to bring up, like, hey, you know what the good thing is about this situation, right? They're like, you need to ask us now if that's okay, because so
I feel like every group needs that person because it kind of keeps everyone like from not jumping in front of vehicles,
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm happy to serve that role, right? And it's just one of those where I think about it, and I don't remember. I talked about this with someone a long time ago, but I'm like, give me a good reason to like not be positive, and I'll stop.
That's a really good way to look at it, and I feel like, especially in today's day and age, most people just, I mean, as humans, it's very natural that we just go to the negative stuff immediately. It's just human nature, but. And it's really hard to fight that urge. So for you to have like taught yourself through just repetition of doing it, that like, hey, I'm going to be the optimist. I'm going to be that positive person, because why not? Like, there's no reason not to be, because we get one life. why would I waste it just thinking about the bad when we
Yeah.
could focus more on, hey, what can we get out of this situation? What is the good? Because there always is something. It's just sometimes really hard to find it.
Exactly. And just, from a clarity perspective, I'm not sitting here saying like ignore the bad stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Like there absolutely is bad stuff that happens, right? I'm not trying to sweep that under the rug. I look at it more as like bad stuff happens. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, couple options, right? If we want to narrow it down to two, it's like you can either just sink into the negativity of it, but like what does that do for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think we might have talked about this a little bit when you were on my show too, right? It's like that's not helpful, right? Maybe for a
Right.
little bit, like depending on the level of it, right? Grieving, totally get that, right? But at some point, like you kind of got to keep moving a little bit, and part of that is looking at like, okay, what can I take away from this that's a positive? Or
Hmm.
is there a plus side to this that I can take away that can help me start to move forward with this experience as a part of my story? So
Yeah.
I think, like you said, the practice component, I think that's a really cool way to put it because it is kind of behavioral, right? It's one of those. It's like it's
Hmm.
a choice to make. I think over time, that practice, what it's done for me subconsciously, and now I'm just kind of talking through it, is that I've learned to get to that point faster when bad things
Hmm.
happen, right?
Yeah.
So where like, in my younger years and, maybe for people that are listening, it's like bad thing happens. It might take a long time before you kind of get back to that balance point, so to speak, and then move forward. Where for me now, after having kind of thought through that and using that day to day, I just feel like I'm able to kind of get past that sooner and then get back to moving forward to what I need to do.
It really is like almost like building a habit, right? Because
Yeah,
habitually, a lot of people, what they do is they build a habit of always focusing on the bad things, kind of being a victim of their own situation. And that
hmm
kind of leads them to always, just like habitually, something bad happens, they inevitably go into that victim mindset, hold on for way too long. And then eventually they do get over it, but maybe not fully, versus
yeah,
somebody who's habitually building the habit of, hey, this happened. Okay, process it, but also how can we move forward from it? How can we get better from it?
100%, 100%, right. And it's the practice of that in the I hate playing a comparison game necessarily, but in like the less bad things that happen, right? It's like if you practice that and kind of flex that muscle, then when like some real stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
Then you've flexed it enough to be like, oh, I know what to do here, right? I'll give you an example. We'll go right into the emotional stuff. Why not?
I love it.
So so my wife and I, we've been married for, oh shit, hold on, give me a second. Let me do the math to make sure I say the right number. It'll
Yeah, right. She'll get on you.
be, yeah, I know she's gonna listen and be like, damn it. In fairness, we both have to do this math. It'll be 9 years in May.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so like 8.5 years, right? When we first got married, like as soon as we got back from our honeymoon, we found out we were pregnant.
Woo!
And
Did not wait.
uh, no, did not wait, right? But unfortunately, we ended up losing that baby. We had a miscarriage, and we actually
Mhm.
ended up having another one later on. Um, Part of the reason that I tell that story is then when we had our first daughter, right, the
Mhm.
6-year-old, there was, and anyone that has kids, right, that's listening to this will know this, like in those first couple months where it's just like I'm like, dude, this kid needs to sleep. And then there will be days where like the baby's just crying nonstop for no reason,
Yeah.
and you don't know what's going on. And granted, our daughter, she was a relatively chill kid. She started sleeping pretty well, but there's still those days, right? And I very clearly remember thinking to myself, like in those days when it's just the struggle of dirty diapers and no sleep, and thinking like, well, the other option is she could not be here,
Yeah.
and I know what that feels like. So
Hmm.
I will take this every day of the week and twice on Sunday,
Hmm.
no problem,
And that's
right?
that's such an important mindset to have, is like focusing on gratitude, because
Yeah,
it's impossible to be negative and grateful in the same thought.
yeah,
And when I heard that, I forget where I heard it from, but when I heard that, it just like it was like a light bulb moment, right? Because it's
yeah,
so true. If we're being negative and then we say, well, you know what? It's a nice day outside, immediately your mindset kind of starts to shift in the right direction.
yeah.
But the problem is that most people just don't go there. So the way that I like to do it for my clients is when we're teaching this is every single night I have them go to bed, and when they have their head on the pillow, they're like thinking about their day. I have them think about what was the best part of your day or what is one thing that you were grateful for. I don't care how little that is. I don't care if it's your fucking energy drink or your cup of coffee that you had, because let's be honest, caffeine brightens up everybody's day. But
100%.
when you do that, over time, your brain starts to be like, oh, this is something we're doing. Cool. So I'm going to look for these things throughout the day. So then you have a
Yeah.
more positive outlook on life.
Yeah, and it's focus, right? It's about where
Hmm.
you put your focus and what you choose to focus on. And I mean, we were kind of talking about it a little bit. It is very natural, like left unattended, you will focus on the negative things. And I think I heard someone say it's like that's more of an evolutionary thing, right? Not to go into
Yeah.
not to go into all that, right? But it's like you go back to caveman ages. It's like if you're not looking around trying to figure out what's gonna eat you, something's gonna eat you, right?
Facts. No,
And
it's so
so
true
that's
though. But
yeah,
we don't
like that's
have that
built into
same,
us.
right. We don't have
Yeah,
that same problem now. Like I'm not like looking out and waiting for like a tiger to pounce at me, but our nervous
right.
system responds the same way. So when like you're stressed at work and you're always focusing on like the little anxieties at work and stuff, your body's responding the same way as it would if the caveman was trying to run away from the tiger.
Yeah, and I think part of that is like recognizing that that's natural, right?
Hmm.
I've worked with some nutrition clients in the past, and a big part of it that I would try to tell, especially as they were like learning new habits and things, and then they would like beat themselves up for like wanting to eat off the plan, right?
Yeah.
Not even actually doing it, but just like
Yep.
having the thought of it. And I'm like, dude, like that's cool. Like one, the behavior you exhibited is ultimately more important than what you thought about. But
Correct.
two, it's like no, recognize that that's kind of a natural part of the process. Like, guess what? Like, yummy food is yummy food. So it's
Yeah.
kind of normal that you want to have it. But don't beat yourself up for the thought for it. If anything, give yourself a freaking pat on the back for having the thought and then not just, sinking into it and going on a bender, right? Like,
Exactly.
that's more important. Like, the thoughts are going to happen. You almost can't control that. Or, I guess better put, don't worry about trying to control that, right?
Yeah. It's like
Focus
a
on
waste of
how
your
you
energy at that
respond.
point. Hmm.
Bingo, right? It's like how you respond to that thought is so much more important.
Yeah. It's kind of like the actions speak louder than words kind of situation, right?
That's I have like a number of tattoos here, and that's one of them. I have acta non verba right on my forearm, right? It
Hell
means
yeah.
it's Latin for actions, not words. So yeah, I've got a few of them
Well,
there, but that's
what made
that's
you
like
what made you get that tattooed on you?
um well, it's kind of right in line with. So I used to be. Do you know the Daily Stoic, like Ryan
Yeah.
Holiday,
I actually
Ego is
have
the
it
Enemy?
right next to
Oh,
Yoda up there. Yep, there it is.
oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I used to listen to his stuff, and not that
Oh,
I don't as
great.
much anymore. I just have too many podcasts to listen to.
No, I feel
Um,
that. I definitely went through a phase where like I consumed all of the Ryan Holiday content, then I was like, okay, now
yeah,
we're moving on.
yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, next evolution, and I still very much appreciate the stuff, right? Like I haven't
Oh
had
yeah.
one on my other forum, but that one was one that just it especially as I got into coaching CrossFit and looking at ways to help and serve kind of my fitness community in more different ways. I had to kind of remind myself, like, I can't just talk about doing this stuff. Like, I got to go do something, right? Whether it was nutrition coaching or class coaching, or, I delved in personal training for a little bit. And now with the podcast, it's like ultimately what's going to matter and what's going to make the difference in my ability to be able to continue doing this long term is the doing of stuff, right?
Yes.
And the more, if I just sit around and talk about the stuff that I want to do, cool. Like, that's fun. But at some point, you got to put pen to paper or whatever bad analogy you want to use and make some things happen. So part of it, just putting it there, is like my own reminder for myself, right?
Yeah, that's how I like
That's
to
a
look at tattoos is like if I get
yeah.
so I have like stay strong written on my wrist and I want to get
There you go.
survivor written on the other one. I've wanted that for so long. It's just one of those things that you keep putting off. Um, but I like it too because it's like it faces you. So you look at it and
Yeah.
it's your reminder like, hey, stay strong or hey, like actions, right? As opposed to, facing it the other direction, other people can see it, which is great. But a lot of the times I like tattoos for me to be the reminder that I need to continue to push forward.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I've got. So I've got Acton on Verba. I've got a burning boat, right? If you know the whole burn the boats story,
Yep.
right? That's a classic one.
Oh yeah.
On the other side, I've got Memento Mori,
Mhm.
another Ryan Holiday Stoic classic, right? I've got a lotus flower, which actually that one I got after we had our that first miscarriage. So I don't know if you know about lotus flowers, but I'm not going to get the details exactly right, but basically they only grow in like really muddy, murky
Mhm.
environments. and they're
Yeah.
like these big beautiful flowers, and it's almost one of those where like the dirtier and muddier and murkier it is, the bigger and more beautiful the flower grows. So it's kind of that
Yes.
analogy,
I
right?
love that kind of analogy too. It's kind of like the coal, turns into a diamond under pressure.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like it's those things. It's like if you look at the immediacy of that moment, it's chaos and grieving and everything like that. But it's like there's the chance of something big and beautiful coming out of it, right? And then the last one I've got, which kind of goes into the gratitude focus. So it's actually outline of mountain range
Hmm.
with the word look around. So two pieces to that. One, when we moved to Arizona last year, we moved from the Midwest, and there's like no mountains or really scenery in the Midwest. But when we moved here, we're in Phoenix, and we're amazed at. Like, have you ever been to
Oh, I
Phoenix?
bet. Yeah, I have. I
Yeah,
remember when I was just like on the plane, like when we were landing, I was like, whoa, look at all
yeah,
the mountains.
yeah. That's like it's so cool. You're in the city, and there's freaking mountains everywhere you can see. It's unbelievable.
Hmm.
So we'd be driving around, we're like, holy crap! Like look around, like there's mountains everywhere, and it was in the moment, it was almost that reminder for us of like, wow, we didn't think we were going to be able to make it out here. Like, it was kind of on a whim that we decided to move out here anyways, and everything just kind of fell into place the way it needed
Yeah.
to. It was still stressful and hard to make it happen, but it just kind of like worked out naturally. And so that just became this kind of weird reminder of like this big thing that we didn't think we were going to do, like we made it happen. And so, whenever it's like that we're stressed out or anything like that, it's like look around, like we're look at we surrounded ourselves by because we decided to take action. And now it's funny, now we'll be driving around, or like if I pick up my daughter from school and I'm like super stressed from work, my daughter she'll be like, hey, look at the mountains. I'm like, you're right, look at the mountains, hell yeah, look at the mountains. So and then the look around phrase was because I love the musical Hamilton, so that's just kind of added
Great
added
musical.
bonus in there too.
Love it.
So
Love it. Well, let's dive into a little bit. I want to ask how you got into CrossFit, but I want to start with how did you get into fitness, period?
okay, yeah, ooh, we side quested hard on tattoos,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love
No,
it.
and that's fine.
So
I love the side quests are honestly where all the golden nuggets truly lie, you know?
yes. Ain't that the truth? Okay. All right. So into fitness in general. So I grew up playing baseball. That was my sport of choice. I started playing probably when I was like 4 or 5, and I played all the way through college.
Nice.
And that was like the coolest experience, right? And I, for whatever reason, I vividly remember as a kid being like, I want to play college baseball. Like for whatever reason, I never really dreamed like past that.
Yeah.
But I was
I
like,
think that's a really
that's
cool
my goal.
thing to say is to be like, I did it in college, which
Yeah.
to me, I feel like college athletes have so much more passion than professional athletes, to an extent when it comes to, because it's just truly for the love of the game at that point, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once it becomes a job and a career, like that just brings its own level of pressures and things with it too, right?
Very
So,
different. Yeah.
yeah, and well, yeah, let's not side quest on on that now, but
Baseball.
so
Okay.
baseball. Okay, we're back on track. So yeah, so I grew up playing baseball. Um, Started, doing workouts and things and running like as a part of that growing up. And even into like middle school and high school. In high school was when I really kind of leaned into the fitness component of it, but it still was
Hmm.
it was more like, a couple other guys on the team that I was on our high school team, they had a trainer, so I started going doing some stuff with them, and that helped a ton. And then obviously getting into college was when that really picked up in terms of like, team workouts and things like that.
Hmm.
The strength coach we had um was big on, functional movements, right? Squatting, pressing, things like that, deadlifting. I was a pitcher, so this was still an age when like you were not allowed to do anything with your upper body lifting wise.
Yeah.
So which
Because it
now
might
looking
change the
back
way
on it,
you
I'm like,
throw and stuff.
yeah, I think the thought process was, and I get it, right? Is like if you get too like muscle bound, right? Does it limit your range of motion through your shoulder to
Of
actually be able to
course.
properly, do your mechanics, right? So I get it from that perspective. Looking back on it, I'm like, hey, we probably could have done something, like
Yeah, and I think if you did
something
like a
that just helped.
combination of like true mobility with it
Yeah.
and like full range of motion, because what happens is a lot of people when they're doing like bodybuilding style training and they're doing like overhead pressing, they don't
Mhm.
actually get full range of motion. So they're teaching their body how to
Yeah.
be strong in a poor range of motion. And then when they actually go full range of motion, that's when they get injured. So it's like, hey, if we
Exactly.
practice mobility with load under pressure and we actually use full range of motion, maybe tempo and power, it would really work.
Yeah, weird. It's like all the things that CrossFit asks you to do, right?
So strange.
Yeah, so odd. But yeah, that was kind of that balance where I was like, I enjoyed it, but I was never really the guy that I was like, let me go work out on my own, right? Like
Right.
that just wasn't necessarily me. Until let's see, it was my fourth year of college. So I ended up doing 5 years of college. I redshirted a year because I had surgery on my elbow. And so in my fourth year, I was coming back from that elbow surgery, and I was, I mean, just honestly, I was very out of shape, right?
Yeah.
I thought I didn't really have a good sense of what like hard work from an exercise perspective really looked like. So I just kind of slacked off. I thought I was working hard, but really I wasn't. And I was just like, and I probably came into that year, I don't know, probably 20, 30 pounds overweight from where I had started my college career. And, just was not in playing shape. And it showed in the field, it showed in my performance. And I mean, to the point where I was, a fourth year, basically with my senior class, right? Like all of us came in as freshmen. They're all like playing prominent roles on the team. And I get left off the travel roster, right? Like
Mm.
they don't even bring me with them on the road, right? And I vividly remember, and this is kind of like the turning point where I started taking it seriously. Took me a while before I figured out what to do. But my roommate that year was a close friend of mine, and he sat me down one day and he goes, Marco, I'm going to tell you something that I got to tell you something. And he's like, you're not going to like it. He's like, you're fat, and everybody sees it. And but like, and you can, okay, so you can imagine, right?
Right.
You get confronted with that, and you're like, geez almighty, like goodness gracious, we're getting right into it. But I will say that it was one of the most helpful things that could have ever happened to me, because the piece that he said was, you're fat and I'm going to help you. Now he had gone through
Yeah.
his own kind of weight loss before this school year had started, right? So everybody like, but he wasn't like a nutrition coach. He wasn't a trainer. He just kind of like figured stuff out on his own. But I
Yeah.
think that piece for me was the biggest part, because it was like, it wasn't like, you're fat. All right, see you later. Right. It was like, you're fat. I'm here with you. Like, I'm your
Yeah.
friend. I care about you. I know you want this, but you're not doing what's necessary, but I'm going to help you and walk you through it. Right.
Yeah. And that's what people
And
need to do because, you know, there's like too much coddling where like even like I was a sales manager for a really long time and I would like get into discussions with other sales managers from different gyms and they'd be like, complaining about their salespeople. And I'm like, well, why don't you just tell them what they're doing wrong so that they can fix and then help them fix it, right?
yeah,
Because you're not helping them at all by just saying, yeah, like good job, even though they're not doing a good job. Like you have to have those tough conversations with people that you care about because that's how they get better. So your
for
friend
sure.
doing that, we're talking about it today. So that was like a tough conversation that changed the
Oh, yeah.
trajectory of your life. And if he didn't say something, who knows where you'd be?
Yeah. He said, I think I remember him saying something like, you're going to eat your way off the team. I was like, oh, damn.
Shit,
Now, okay.
bro, he went all in.
Like, bro, he went for it. But like you said, it's still like a vivid memory for me. Like, and I think about it now, and I think like that was one of the most loving, caring things that anybody could have done for me at that time.
Yep.
Now, I want a caveat, right? I don't want someone to hear this and be like, all right, I'm gonna go find fat people and just tell them that they're fat to their
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
It's
Let
like,
me go
whoa, whoa,
just
whoa,
like
slow
shame
down,
everyone.
easy turbo. Yeah. It's like, hold up, right? Um, you got, like, just for context, right? This is my roommate. This is one of my best friends,
Yes.
right?
There's
Like
like a
he
trust and a
knew.
relationship there. If I just went up to somebody
Bingo.
on Instagram and was like, hey, I'm a nutrition coach, let me just slip into this person's DMs and be like, hey, you're fat. Let me help you. They're probably not going to respond to your message.
I'm gonna give. Well, you know what? I'll give that a pass. If it's an Instagram comments and you don't have to see the person face to face, let it fly. No, I'm kidding.
That's true.
Don't do that. Do not do that. Right. But yeah, it's like the more trust you have built up with somebody, the more real you can be with them.
Hmm.
Be kind, right? Don't just
Right.
be mean. Don't be a jerk about it. But like, if somebody's got something going on that's like that's setting them on the wrong track, and you can see it, like, not having that conversation with them is not caring. It's not loving, right? Like, you don't want them to continue down a road that's going to lead to them getting something they don't want, right?
Hmm.
And so if you're close with them, like, that's where sitting down and finding a way to have that conversation. And then it's like almost kind of based on comfort level. Like, for my friend, his comfort level was, dude, my roommate and my best friend, one of my best friends, is fat and he's going to end up off the team, and I know he doesn't want that, but I don't have like a
Hmm.
good way to like subtly get into that conversation. So I'm just going frontal, attack, right?
Sometimes you need that, you know, and I think it
Yeah.
depends on how the person, like, you need to know your people, right? Because I have some clients who I can talk to very like, like, what the hell are you doing, right? And then I
Yeah.
have some people who I have to almost like tiptoe around the situation in order to
Yeah.
like manipulate, you know, what I'm saying to make it sound right. But at the end of the day, if you have to have a tough conversation with somebody that you care about, understand that they probably won't take it, you know, the right way right up front. They might get offended at first, but then once it starts sinking in, because I've been there where people have said something to me and I'm like, oh, I'm offended. And then I actually think about it and I'm like, fuck, they're right. So just like give it time too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, just let it sit. It's gonna be uncomfortable for a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
like there will be a moment where it'll come around. And like it's one of those where like as the person having that conversation, especially if that reaction, like that immediate reaction isn't great, it's probably going to be so easy to second guess, like, man, should I have even done that? Right.
Yep.
But that's where you got to kind of like hopefully deep within yourself feel like I did this for the right reasons because I can see that this is going that direction and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for that person. So hopefully they understand my intent. Hopefully it comes around and they're able to see what I was seeing too.
Yeah. How did you
And
take it
hope
when your friend said that to you though? Were you like, oh no, like that's not true? And then like did you get defensive and then realize, oh shit, he's right? Or was it like an immediate like, okay, I gotta do something about this?
it was a gut punch at first, right? For
Yeah.
sure it was a gut punch. It was like, what are you talking about? Like that's not, like I think, I definitely went into some defensiveness when it happened. Um After a while though, I had to, and I say a while, it wasn't that long. I had to look at the evidence, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting left off the travel roster. I can barely keep up with the team when we're doing like workouts and stuff. Like performance wise, I'm just not playing, I'm not pitching as well as I want to. Like I had to confront the facts and be like, I mean, either everybody's wrong, right? And just like or I need to change something,
Yeah.
right?
And that's the
And
hardest
the
part
most,
is because we don't want to face that uncomfortable
yeah,
reality that
yeah,
we aren't where we want to be or we're not working hard or we're not doing what we say that we wanted to do, you know?
yeah, yeah, 100%. And I had to face that and be like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? Kind of back to where we started a little bit. It was like I could choose to either be the victim of like, oh, they're calling me fat, they're saying I'm fat, blah 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 blah, or I could decide, well, I'm going to try something different. And that's not going to guarantee that I'm going to succeed or come out of this, but I know if I don't change anything, I can pretty well see where it's going to end up. Right.
Hmm.
So why not take a chance on changing something and let's see what happens. Right.
Hmm.
And so yeah, that spring, probably between, so that conversation probably happened in like February, March of that year, right? I was I was kind of thinking back because I had a feeling the story would come up. I think when we did like, we would do like body composition tests or whatever, like around the different times of the school year. And I think around that time I was probably like 230 pounds and like 25% body fat, like something like that. Somewhere in the high 20s in terms of body fat. And then in that, like I made a full 180, right? And we can get into the details of what that looked like. That actually was the summer where I first did CrossFit. And by the time I came back at the start of the next school year, I was 185 and 9% body fat.
Yeah, I mean, that is a crazy change. And to be able to not just drop that much weight, but drop that much body fat. Because a lot of people, what
Yeah.
happens is they'll drop a lot of weight and then they'll get their DEXA scan done and their actually body fat went up or it stayed the
Yeah.
same because they dropped a lot of muscle mass because they did it wrong. So talk about how you did that because obviously this is kind of like the catalyst of how you got into a CrossFit gym.
Yep. So the first step that I took, one was the nutrition side of things, right?
Yeah,
And that was just like literally just like
foundation, truly.
cut out the garbage, right? And like now I kind of take a different approach when I talk to people about nutrition, right? But in that instance, it was like, hey, you're just eating a bunch of, you're eating enough protein, you're getting some nutrients, but just like all the extra additional like rice and pasta that you feel like is like necessary, like it's not serving you, right? So like, let's at least just like cut those serving sizes in half. It was nothing magical. There was no tracking or anything happen. It was just like start
Mhm.
eating less garbage, right? Cool.
Yep.
In terms of exercise wise, and this is what like one of the spots where I really felt the benefit of just like plain old consistency. So I went to a Catholic university, and Lent was coming around, and the typical
Perfect.
The
It's the
typical thing
perfect
is like,
time for you to cut shit out.
yeah, it's like, what am I going to give up for Lent? And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I had this thought. I'm like, why not, instead of cutting something out, what if I decide to add in one positive behavior that I'm going to do every day?
Honestly, probably more
Ah,
people would benefit from that. Just saying.
so and I did that. I wish I could remember what that thought was, but I told myself, I'm like, every day of Lent, which was what, 40 days, I'm
Yeah.
gonna run at least 10 minutes. And I was like, that means some days it'll just be a 10-minute casual jog like through campus. Because, and I remember having those days when it was like we got back from a road trip, like we drove, we played a game earlier that day, we drove 5 hours. I'm like, crap, got to get my 10 minutes. And I would literally just get like, go, the apartment that I had was like right outside of the school track. So I'm like, let me just go run like 3 laps around the track or 4 laps or
Yeah.
whatever. Nice, super, super easy. And then
It's
other days
such
I'd
an
have more time and
easy
I'd do more.
doable thing too, because it's
Right.
it's only 10 minutes. Like
It's
if you're
10
having
minutes.
if it's 11 p.m. at night and you're like, I really don't want to do it, it's only 10 minutes. Like you're gonna
It's only
scroll
10
on your
minutes.
phone for longer than 10 minutes. Just go and do it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like, and on the days when it was only 10 minutes that I had, it was like, okay, guess what? That means I'm just not going to go very fast. Like, because I probably don't have a
Mhm.
bunch of time to warm up and cool down. So it's not 10 minutes of sprinting, it's like 10 minutes of a light jog. And if that's too much, go 10-minute walk, whatever, right? Modify it to where you are. But like
Mhm.
that was the first step that I took, was like 10 minutes every day. Some days it was just a 10, some days it'd be, hey, I have a ton of time because I don't have class or whatever. Let me go run some, stadium stairs or whatever. But that was honestly where it started, right? That was
And I
when I
truly
launched.
love that more than anything because so many people, I've been in this space for 12, 13 years coaching people, and most people they come to me and they're like, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week. I'm going to cut out all
Mhm.
this food. I'm going to only eat like chicken and I'm like, you're literally doing zero exercise right now. You're eating shit all the time and you're just going to go done. Like
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
they feel miserable. Most people give up within 2 weeks. That's why most
yeah.
people fail New Year's resolutions because they don't go into it with the right approach when it comes to health and fitness. They think, okay, let me just go all out. And there's like that all or nothing mentality. When it's like, hey, if you're doing zero exercise, let's do 1 day of strength training or let's go on a walk for 10 minutes each day. Like just little things that'll build consistency. And then once you build that consistency, you can say, okay, what's next? You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's the least amount of change that I can make to start driving my results forward? So
Mm-hmm.
that way, like, one, then you don't overwhelm yourself. But two, and I think about this too, like if somebody's like, let's take that example, right? I'm going to cut this food out. I'm going to start exercising, all this. And it's like, well, okay, if you do all those things and let's just play it out and assume that you can be consistent with that. One, great for you. That's awesome, right? Love that for you. Two, you don't know which one of those actually had the biggest impact and the biggest benefit, right? It's kind
Sure.
of just like the experimentation standpoint. It's like if I do one thing, I get a result, positive or negative. I know the impact of that one thing. If I do five things and I get a result, I don't know. Like, as in, if you start exercising, you're running in the morning, working out at night, you're cutting out all this stuff, right? And you lose, I don't know, 20 pounds in 3 months, random numbers. Well, which one of those had the biggest impact that you now know you need to keep that one going? You
Yeah.
don't know, which means to keep the result, you have to continue doing all of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
that becomes overwhelming, right?
And very
As opposed to
unsustainable.
like, yeah, it's just like just one thing at a time. Add one thing. Once you feel like you've kind of exhausted that, right? Then okay, what's the next? Or not even exhausted that necessarily, but once you feel like you've gotten it to a point that it's just muscle memory, like it's a thing
Yeah,
you're gonna do, now you can layer in something else, right? Do you
exactly.
know? Do you follow Simon Sinek at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, I'm like, we talked Ryan Holiday. Now we can go. We can go another
Yeah,
side.
I
But
feel
so
like
the whole,
those are the people that we know.
yeah,
I
exactly.
actually, yeah, I have a couple of his books just sitting in front of me in my bookcase.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I've got Leaders Eat Last. My daughter started
Great
reading
one.
that one when she was 5, which was hilarious. So
That's
I'm like, hell yeah, let's
awesome.
go. But the whole finite game versus infinite game, right? That
Mm-hmm.
he talks about a lot, right? It's like fitness is not there's no finish line. You're never done
Correct.
with fitness, right? Like, so you've got to think about it from the perspective of this is the kind of thing that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about it that way, it's like, well, okay, I can take it easy. I don't need to like master everything in 90 days, right? Or insert whatever catchy phrase from some challenge you found online, right?
Oh, I hate
Yeah,
fitness
no, I know. I
challenges.
was gonna say, So, whatever that catchy phrase is, that's like that you see on like those magazines in the grocery
Yeah.
store, right? It's like lose 37 pounds of belly fat in 12 hours. It's like, well,
It's always like so
okay,
ridiculous. Like I actually laugh when I'm waiting on line at the grocery store and I look at these things. It's like get a six pack in 30 days. And I'm like,
yeah,
but how? Tell me.
yeah. Well, and even not even how, well, yes, how, right? Because it's like, who's getting cut open
Yeah,
for
right.
this, right?
How are we
But
slicing the belly fat off?
yeah, the piece of it that I find that I feel like ends up becoming the bigger problem for people. It's like if you did that, and let's say you got that result, cool, great. Now what? Once the 30 days
Correct.
are done, now what are you gonna do? Are you gonna keep doing that thing? Because what you did to get that result is probably not something you can keep doing for the rest of your life. If
Yep.
I had to bet,
Yep.
right? If I had to bet
Yep.
and be right. So what are you gonna do now? What's the exit plan, right?
Hmm.
Because if we treat it like if there's a finish line, well, then that means that at some point you're done, which means you assume that you get to just go back to doing whatever you were doing before, which is just going to get you back to where you were before in the first place, right?
Correct. So it's about a
So,
lifestyle change when it comes to fitness and health. It's not
100%.
about like how much shit can I cut out. It's not about restriction. It's about how can we add more to your life, whether that be more
Yep.
whole foods, more protein, more fitness, in a way that you can sustain for the rest of your life if you had to.
Dude, okay, I'm so happy you brought this up because this just triggered something for me. Okay,
Oh, I get
hashtag
it. I mean,
trigger
like we're
warning.
both coaches, so we understand like, oh, there's so much cringe out there.
Yeah, exactly, right. And it's like we talked about it's about focus, right? And it's like, are you going to choose to focus on the things that you need to cut out, or are you going to choose to focus on the things to add in? And it's just a fun. Have you ever heard of the purple elephant experiment?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So and basically it's like it's that one to kind of just teach you that like you can control what goes in your mind, right?
Hmm.
But like if I okay, CrossFit people are going to hate me for this. Do you know like in the whole fitness in 100 words, the nutrition plan behind the CrossFit methodology?
No,
Have you heard that? Okay,
I
so
haven't.
and it's like two sentences. It's actually beautifully written that it can actually do this within two sentences. It says, meat and veggies, nuts and seeds, some starch, little fruit, no sugar. It's like that's right. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like literally, it's like just cut out those last two words. And
Cringe,
if
cringe,
people are
cringe.
listening, it's not because I'm saying sugar is good for you. I'm not saying that, but it's a matter of focus. And now you've got people like you'll have people read that and they'll just latch onto those last two words and be like, I got to cut out sugar. It's like, well, you're not going to die if you eat
Yeah,
sugar.
yeah,
But like literally, if you take those last two words off, meat and veggies, nuts and seeds, some starch, low fruit. It's like even if you just kept that, dude, do that every meal for like as far as you can think. Like you're gonna revolutionize. You're gonna completely change your entire health, right?
yeah.
But it's because you're focusing on what to eat, not what not to eat.
Correct. Like if I were to tell my client, "Hey, you're not allowed to have this," what the hell are they thinking about all the time now? That.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
That's all they can
natural. If I
focus on.
tell you, "Hey, don't think
Oh,
about a fucking elephant," uh-oh, we're thinking about an elephant
oh
now,
shit.
right? So it's
There's an
like
elephant.
I tell my clients, hey, we're not focusing on taking things out. I just want you to focus on adding things in. So we're going to focus on eating more whole foods. We're going to focus on eating more protein because naturally, if you're eating more whole food, you're eating more protein, your appetite isn't going to be there for the other shit.
Yeah,
And over
exactly.
time, your habits, your taste buds, all those things change. Your cravings change. If you're not eating processed foods all the time, you do not crave processed foods. It's
Correct.
wild how they manufacture those things to make you crave them. So guess what? You will buy more.
Yeah, exactly. Like just oh my goodness. Okay, which side quest am I going to take on this one? We're going to go through all of them. One, it's like I like to call it like positive habit displacement, right? It's
Hmm.
like if you have all this whole bathtub full of habits, right? If you start focusing on what things to add in, if you eat more protein, exercise regularly, drink more water, eat more fruits and veggies, get proper sleep, manage your stress, have positive relationships in your life, right? Find some purpose in what you're doing if
Ooh,
you
that's
do
a
all
good one.
these things,
I'm glad you added that one too.
I know it's like, hey, guess what? Nutrition and health isn't just about what you eat and what you lift,
Correct.
right?
Social,
um,
spiritual,
dude,
relationships, all those things.
it's all of it, right? And it's like, and if you do all those things and you focus on improving those things, or focus on just being consistent with those things, you don't have a lot of time or room for much else in your life,
Hmm.
right?
And when you have
It's really
purpose in what you're doing, you don't want that other stuff. And that's one of the biggest, I
man.
heard this on a podcast yesterday, is there was like a study or an experiment that they did where it was just changing somebody's habits, like doing things that didn't make them miserable versus doing the hard things but finding purpose in it. And those
Mm,
who did the miserable things but found purpose in it were significantly happier and more successful because
yeah.
purpose is what gives us success, not the shit that we're doing. Because the reality is in life, you have to do some things that you don't want to do. Like for
For sure.
whatever career path you want to get down, even if it's your dream career, there's still going to be days where you're like, I really just don't want to do this. Like there are just things like that. But if you can find purpose in the pain and purpose in the struggle, it makes it so much easier.
Oh, yeah. And if you think about like purpose can be kind of an amorphous word a little bit, right? So it's like
Yeah.
purpose is like, do you believe that the thing that you're doing right now is connected to something bigger that's going to better your world around you,
And I think that's a great way
right?
to put it because a lot of people don't actually know what purpose is. I get a
Yeah.
lot of clients who are like, I can't find my purpose. And, it's not just going to land on your doorstep. Sometimes it just happens. And a lot of times you have to just kind of find purpose in what you're doing. Like, how is what I'm doing right now applying to the life that I want?
Okay, so I'll give you a personal example, right? I'm in, like trying to working on building this podcast and like, being consistent with content and things like that. And if you had told me that like 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. I mean, 2 years ago, I was like, I don't like I only recently got an Instagram in general, and I would stay very quiet on it. I just scroll through and find funny memes to send to my wife and my friends, right? Like that was the extent of my
That's like my
social
husband.
media exposure, right? like, you know, like I have this one group chat with like friends from college. It's just like all of us just sending reels all over, right?
Yep.
But then eventually, like the thought of having a podcast or creating content was something that in my mind I was like, oh, why? But it wasn't until one I started doing it, but I connected it to, oh, I can do this in a way that can help expose the reality of what happens in a CrossFit gym to people so that
Correct.
way they feel comfortable walking in themselves. Now
Hmm.
I've connected that thing that I kind of despised before to a larger purpose. And I'm like, ooh, now I want to do it. Like
Yep.
it's taxing, it's time consuming, it's mentally draining in its own ways, but it's also for a bigger reason that I feel like will help more people. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's worth it. It's worth the struggle.
And it makes the experience for yourself so much more enjoyable. I found that because I've been on social media for a very long time. And I, for a while, was just focused on doing what I thought needed to be done as a coach
Mm.
or a trainer. Like, hey, I need to post about this or I need to post about that. And I wasn't enjoying content. And my
Yeah.
content wasn't getting any, big likes or views, any engagement. And I was just pissed off with it until I started to, hey, what could actually help people in my own way
Yeah.
is and lean into the things that I love, but then find purpose in it to help my mission. That's when actually I started to get traction and I started to actually enjoy what I was doing.
Yeah, right? Because you feel like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm doing this thing. I understand. I have a deep rooted sense in like why I'm doing it. And
Hmm.
then the like bonus cherry on top is that like other people are seeing it and they're enjoying it too, right?
Correct.
Like I'm sure if that wasn't happening, you would probably still be doing something close to it anyways,
Hmm.
because you're like,
Oh,
I
100%.
actually enjoy the process of this. This is fun for me, right?
Hmm.
So like you'd keep doing it anyways. The fact that other people also enjoy it is just like sweet, awesome. This is cool. Now other people can come with me while I do this, and it's not just me sitting in a my own Instagram corner of the world by myself,
100%.
right?
So this is all this conversation is making my mind go to we need to talk about this after this podcast to maybe do like monthly episodes where it's just like coach's corner where we just talk through stuff like that. I
Ooh,
feel like
okay,
that could be a
fun.
nice
I
little
like that.
collab we do. But from the side quest back into the storyline, how
Oh
did
my
you
gosh, I
find
forgot we were
yourself?
talking about a story. That's right.
Right? Well, how did
So
that happen? But again, I love the side quest because it's boring when you just have the conversation because we want to learn lessons from the conversation, right?
yeah, yeah,
So you were doing 10 minutes a day of running no matter
yeah,
what.
yeah.
And how did that inevitably end up into CrossFit, which is kind of your purpose right now? Obviously,
Yeah,
other than
yeah,
your
yeah,
family and stuff, that's important, but
yeah. Sure. No, no, no. Agree. They come first, right? But like,
Yeah.
okay. Um, so fun. Okay, so that was a really funny story. So, I went back home for the summer. It was my last summer of college, right? I had one more year.
Hmm.
So, and for those that are listening that maybe don't know this, right? Baseball is a spring sport in college, right? So you kind of wrap up at the end of the school year, then you go off for summer. What happens with most college baseball players. I guess I don't even know if I want to say most, but there are college baseball leagues, like summer leagues all around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll get sent off to like different leagues or whatever. So I had done that the previous few years. This last summer before my last year of college, just kind of talking with my parents, I was like, yeah, no, it's probably not a good idea for me to do one of those. Like at that point, the benefit of me doing it would be like if I wanted to play at the next level, like professionally, which was just not
Right.
something. It just wasn't something that was really in the cards for me, which is fine. I'm not, it's not. It was what it was. So like, all right,
Was
let
it
me go
ever something
home.
that you wanted to do?
Not not really deeply. It was one of
Yeah.
those where it was like, hey, if I develop myself to a point where that's a possibility, like cool. But if it doesn't happen, like I've kind of hit the goal that I wanted, which was to play in college. So like I'm good, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool. And so part of it was then that summer was, let me go back home. I'm gonna get an internship, kind of start really thinking about like career wise type of stuff, and then I'm just gonna sink everything into like I'm gonna get in as fit as I possibly can for this last hurrah of competitive baseball, right?
Yeah.
And so I continued with my kind of nutrition stuff. Again, it wasn't anything like fancy. I wasn't tracking macros or stuff. It was more like just focus on protein, focus on fruits and veggies, like try to not eat a bunch of crap outside of that, right?
And
Very
honestly, that's
basic
what the
for like a
majority of
college
people
senior.
need to do. Like
Yeah.
the majority of the people just need to focus on the basics, not
Yeah.
necessarily need to like get all crazy. Like a lot of times when I set clients with macros, I give them ranges. I always give ranges, but unless it's like somebody who's like super dialed in or they have a competition or some shit. But a lot of the people I just start off with like, here's your protein goal, here's your calorie range, go. And they're like, what about my carbs and fats? I'm like, don't even worry about that. If you hit your calorie range and you hit your protein, those are fall in line, you'll be okay.
Very small side quest because I promise I'm not trying to deflect from the story. The way I would try to work that with people was the specificity of your targets are a reflection of the specificity of your goals. So
Correct.
if you have, like you said, you got a competition, you've got something coming up, like we're probably going to need to be pretty dialed in because you need to be
Mm-hmm.
ready on game day, right? Where if your goal is like, I just kind of want to like generally be healthy for like the rest of my life, like that's kind of a loose goal. And that's okay. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. It just is, right? Like you don't
Yeah.
have to have more specific goals. But then it's also like, hey, then we can work within some ranges to kind of build the consistency because we don't have something super specific we're working directly towards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
hey,
consistency is going to beat a perfect plan any day because no perfect plan actually exists.
bingo, right? Because what was the old Mike Tyson quote, right? It's like everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And it's like, well, you've
Facts.
got to have a plan that kind of allows you to get punched in the face and keep moving a little bit, right? So,
It's
okay,
literally
all
that is the
right,
best way to talk about nutrition coaching. Is like I feel like all my
getting
clients are
punched
like,
in the
I'm
face.
good,
Yep.
I'm fine. And then all of a sudden they disappear for a week and I'm like, hey, how are you? Well,
Yeah,
life, this, that. And I'm like, life is gonna punch you in the face like every other week as we're learning.
yeah,
So we just need to, be able to function when that happens.
yeah, exactly. And okay, all right. So summertime comes around, go back home, and then my dad had actually started doing CrossFit. There was a gym that opened up, by our house,
And what
and I
year
had
was
seen it.
this?
This was 2012. So,
Ah, okay.
this was
So
like
you got into it in the
CrossFit games are
early
in
days.
California. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, you're in the middle of the Rich Froning run, which I had no idea what that was at that point, right?
Yeah,
But
it's like
but now
any of
looking
us
back
could
on
just
it,
walk into the CrossFit games and be like, "Can I compete?"
yeah, it's like,
Now it's
hi, I'm
totally not
here.
like
I have a pulse, right?
yeah.
uh, so so I had watched the CrossFit games on like ESPN2 or whatever, right? This is like
Oh
the
yeah.
Carson, California StubHub Center, like glory days, right?
Yep.
And I would always watch. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. They look like they're doing some crazy stuff. And then I go home for the summer. My dad's like, yeah, I've been doing CrossFit. I'm like, what they do? And I'm like, bro, come on, man. I'm like, you're my dad, one,
Yeah,
and
you
you've
don't do
like
that.
never worked out in your life. Like, you're not doing that. And so he was like, oh, you want to come with me? And I, immediately went into and kind of like what we talked about. It's like, well, baseball, and I'm not supposed to do anything upper body, and blah blah blah, and I don't want to hurt myself. And I swear, I like this is remember like it was yesterday. My dad said the one thing to me that I was like, it was the perfect thing to have said in that moment. He goes, "Oh, that's okay. You probably couldn't handle it anyways." And I was like,
Aw,
"Damn it!"
shit.
Like, all right, man, it's on. I'm going tomorrow. And it
He
was
he knew exactly what he was
he
doing too.
knew he either knew exactly what he was doing, which I mean, if he knew what he was doing and saw what it freaking spawned, 12 years ago, like
Yeah.
good on him. Or he had zero idea what he was doing, and that was
And he
just
was
his
just saying shit.
natural. He was
Yeah.
just being a smartass, which is more likely either way. But either way, it was great. So I went the next day, And that first workout was like some combination of, I don't remember the exact word. It was like running, kettlebell swings, and ab mat sit-ups, right? It was like, some rounds for time or whatever. And I loved it. It was
Mhm.
awesome. He So my dad told me there was this guy in the gym that he would go to that he would always like, it was the guy that was always at the top of the leaderboard, and they nicknamed him Sunshine for some reason. I don't even remember why. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch out for Sunshine." I was like, "All right, let me go see who this Sunshine guy is." Right, and I remember beating Sunshine by like a round, and I was like, "Hell yeah!" Right. I still had that kind of like college kid attitude about it a little
Yeah.
bit,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like this was all in my head, right? I didn't say anything out loud to the guy.
Of course.
But it was like it was so much fun. I was like, oh my gosh, you can get all this work done in this amount of time. And I was like, I feel real accomplished right now, right?
That's one of those
And
things, like every time I have like a workout where it's like every 3 minutes and like there's like a lot of work in there, I'm like, this is aggressive. And my coach is like, no, it's productive. And I'm like, okay.
oh, that's a bumper sticker if I've ever seen one,
Yeah,
or a
for
t-shirt or something
real.
like that. That is great. But yeah, so that was my first experience, and I mean, it was like an immediate, it was love at first sight, right? Between me and CrossFit. So I mean, I remember the rest of that summer, I pretty much went Monday through Friday every day, or maybe Monday through Saturday could have been. So I would go do CrossFit, I would go work my internship during the day, and then at night I would either go to just another kind of Globo gym and do some extra work there, or I would hit the track and do like some sprint work or something like that. And so yeah, that was my first time doing CrossFit. Actually, within that summer, I deadlifted 400 for the first time, or 405. I think I wasn't going to I was going to go for the
Yeah,
four plates. So
you
I
have to
deadlifted
go.
405.
If you're at
Yeah,
400, you got to go all the
you got to
way.
go 405. You got to get the fourth wheel on there. So I deadlifted 405 for the first time. I got back to school. At the beginning of the school year, I kind of mentioned, I'd had like a bunch of weight loss. I'd lost a bunch of body fat. Within a couple months of being back, we kind of went more strength focused at the school versus like traditional CrossFit. I actually deadlifted 500 then a couple months later for my first time. I ran like damn near a 6 minute mile, which was something I never thought I'd be able to do. I think it was like 6:15, something like that.
Yeah.
And I say that not necessarily to gloat about like the absolute numbers of it, but more of like considering that all happened within a 6 month range of my roommate and one of my best friends sitting me down into my face telling me I was fat and going to eat my way off the team, to where I got to, and that's where I found CrossFit. I was like, oh, this is awesome, right?
It
I was
shows
like,
what's truly possible when you commit to something.
100%. 100%, right? And that was where I first like fell in love with CrossFit. I had the rest of that school excuse me, the rest of that school year, and I mean, if we're being honest, right? Like an affiliate membership, it's not the it's not the cheapest thing, especially for
Definitely
like
not.
a new
Especially
college grad.
college kid, yeah. Oof.
So when I got out of like when I graduated, I was like, okay, I know I want to eventually get back into CrossFit, but like I just genuinely can't afford it right now, right?
Yeah.
So
And
it
that's
was
something that a lot of
probably,
people do struggle with at this point. Like
oh, for sure.
I know a lot of people who are like, I want to get into CrossFit, but I don't know how because I can't afford that kind of a gym membership. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
where like there is so much helpful information on social media. You can hire a coach that's probably cheaper than a CrossFit gym membership. But at the end of the day, it's like you could probably make it happen if you stop going to Starbucks.
I'm just gonna let that
Insert
sit for a
whatever your
second.
Starbucks is here.
You get your milkshake with a shot of caffeine in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that ended up being I actually probably it was probably a good 4 or 5 years before I made my way back into a CrossFit affiliate. I knew it was something that I was going to get back to. It was more a matter of like I need a one. So well, there was actually some kind of like um I guess turmoil for me at the end of my college career. And I'm going to say this, and I say this full well knowing that like somebody's going to hear the story that I'm going to tell, and they're going to be like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's like maybe compared to what but like relative to my story and what I was going through at the time, like it was rough. So when I finished college, so I had put that whole year, I'd put my full focus on like doing the best I could from a baseball perspective, right? I really didn't look at like any career options, like job wise or anything. I didn't have anything lined up after that. My baseball career itself, like kind of my last performance, I ended up blowing a pretty big game like on national TV. So like cool. that's everybody got to see that, right?
Love
There's a
that.
funny story there. They like I ended up blowing the game. I got taken out of the game, and I was in the dugout, and I was pretty emotional because I knew like how my coach worked, and I'm like, yeah, there's no chance I'm pitching ever again. So like that was it,
Right.
right? That was my lasting memory. One of the camera people like found my parents the next day and were like, I got the best shot of your son while he was sitting in the dugout. My mom was like, hey, do you want to not tell me that right now? So
I got the best shot of your son crying. Like, what
sulking
the
and
hell?
yeah, it's like, and I mean, um, so it, and like, and I've had some other guests on my podcast that were former college athletes, and it's a question I like to talk about because it was a very trying time for me.
It
It was like,
really is.
what
It's
was
something that a
that
lot
moment
of
like?
college athletes struggle with
Yeah.
is the what's the transition from being a college athlete to being a person.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that is like your
exactly.
whole identity in life.
Yeah. I mean, and I was very much that person, right? We had that game that day, and then we were in kind of a double elimination tournament, like the first round of the playoffs. We lost our game the next day, and it was literally like snap of a finger. This thing that you've done for the vast majority of your life is now gone, and nobody wants you to do it anymore. And now you've got to go
Mhm.
figure something else out. And so I had that. I had no job, and the girl I was dating at the time broke up with me. Not actively; she just stopped talking to me, which was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, the way
So
to do it back
like
then.
trifecta, right? On top of that, the apartment I was in, I was living by myself. So I was just like not around, I didn't have roommates or like friends that we could, go do stuff. So I'm just like, it was I'm gonna use this term, but I'm gonna caveat it, right? It was as close to depression as I feel like I've ever been, right? And so what actually helped me what like eventually was getting back in the gym. But it was do you know who CT Fletcher is?
Yeah,
Okay, so I found his videos on YouTube, like him,
yeah.
Mike Rashid. Yeah. So if you don't know who CT Fletcher is,
Just throw it into
go look him
YouTube.
up. Go to YouTube, right? Go get a YouTube degree. Maybe turn the volume down
Yeah,
when you play
probably.
it. Yeah. But it was finding his videos and the message of like there's to summarize, right? There's nothing in the gym that's impossible to do. You've just got to kind of break your mind around what you think the structure of a workout is supposed to be. And like that concept of like, he likes to say overtraining is bullshit. And I think it's like, and I've heard him talk about it, he's like, it's not that overtraining doesn't happen, but for most people, it's under recovering. And
I
part of that
honestly,
means that
I agree with
you can
that.
push
I
that
agree
part
with that so
100%.
much. Like,
Yeah.
I think you can do as much as your body can handle, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, as much as your body can recover from. So if you're just, most people just don't
Yes.
pay attention enough to recovery, or they don't think they need to recover as much as they think. I'm that person.
Yeah.
I like use the analogy of I live on the line of overtraining, but I don't. I live on the line of under recovering. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, if you just ate like a little bit more, and if you just slept a little bit more, you'd probably be fucking great, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and for a lot of people, like sometimes it's not feasible to recover as much as you want to, and you just modulate
Mhm.
the intensity of the workouts, and that's okay, right?
Correct.
Like depending on what you got going on. But for me, hearing that message and then applying it in the gym and going in instead of just doing, the bull crap 3 sets of 12 with like 2 minutes of rest in between and not even really challenging the weight, it was like, oh no, I'm gonna take some of these concepts that he's doing in these workouts and I'm gonna put it into play. And I'll tell you, like, physically, it changed my body, yes, but the biggest factor for me was mentally. And just being
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think I was close to even, like, I didn't even think that was possible.
I mean, I've been
And
doing
I just,
fitness for 12 years, and that still happens occasionally where, like,
yeah,
because I definitely push myself hard, but there are times where like, oh my God, this weight is really hard, but what if I added 5 pounds or two and a
yeah,
half pounds? Like, what could happen? I could fail?
yeah,
Cool. Well, let's try it. And then you do it and you're like, well, I just unlocked a new thing.
yeah, yeah. It's like you found a new standard. I think, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. We're going to side quest. Um, I think I think part of, okay, let me make sure I say this right. In my opinion, I don't think people don't try new things because they're scared of failing. I think they're
Agreed.
scared of succeeding. I think they're scared
Yes.
of realizing that I have another standard and I have another level that I could do. But the problem is that if I prove to myself that I can do it, well, now I know that I can do it, which means
Now
I
I have
can't
to do
settle
it
into
and
what
it's
I was doing before.
harder. Yep. It's kind of
Yeah.
like when there was I was going for a front squat PR and I missed the PR like twice, and then by that time my central nervous system was like, nah bro, we can't we
Oh
can't
my,
go
yeah.
again. And then I remember like the next day or a couple days later I was doing front squats based off a percentage, and I was like, I'm really glad I didn't hit that PR because this would have been even heavier. And I think that happens to a lot of people where they don't want to try the next weight up because then, oh man, I'm gonna have to do this again, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Actually, I had this happen to me with Bulgarian split squats because I have 35s and then 50s. So it's like if I'm
Whoa,
doing
yeah.
single leg or single dumbbell Bulgarian split squats, I know for me, I can do 35s and it'll be tough, or I can try the 50s and see what happens. And so one day I was like, let me try the 50s. And I did. And I said, damn it, now I have to do the 50s.
You're like, now I know I can do 50s. Crap. Yeah. And
Crap.
that's like, okay, two things off of that. One is that's what I love about CrossFit is there's
Yes.
so many
So
different
many
ways,
things.
so many different things that you don't have to have this big jump of a PR, right? It doesn't need to be
Right.
just using that example, the 35s to the 50s, right? It can be the 35s to the 40s. So, whatever, depending on what equipment you have available. But there's also like, you hit this little PR on a front squat. Well, guess what? Now you can work on like that next gymnastics progression that you've been, kind of working on for a while, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different avenues to unlock that new standard that are less intimidating, so to speak,
Yes.
just because it's like you're not setting that new standard so far out in front of you that you're like, oh my goodness, holy crap, what did I just do to myself, right? And I think that's such a big one, and that's kind of like whenever we're doing a heavy day in the gym, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna go, like push the percentages, or maybe it is just a true 1 rep max testing day. My first goal for me personally is I want to like just barely beat my previous PR. Like I want to lock in a PR. I want to know that there was an improvement there. And
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of like that's what I want. And then I always have the second number in my head that I call it. It's like this is the number that I really want. But
Yeah.
like I want to lock in the PR first because then I know if I go for that next one and I fail it, well I still got a PR. Cool. So I can walk
Yep.
away knowing that I made some progress, right? By the way, fun fact for people, do not ever tie your PR. Holy crap. If you're going in on a heavy day and you feel comfortable enough to load your previous PR on the bar, freaking go get a 1 pound plate.
I made
Get
this
something.
mistake so
Don't tie your
bad.
PR. Oh my god.
When I was the same story when I was going for that front squat PR, I it was 10 sets to hit a new heavy. So I was like, okay, cool. I know 140 is my 100%. It's been a while since I've hit it. So even if I got that, honestly, I was going to be pretty pleased. But I went up in such small, like I hit 130, then went to 135, and then I went to 140 and I hit 140 and I said, awesome, I got 145. My dumbass, because I'm a dumbass, forgot
Please
to
tell me you put
load the
150.
bar properly, right? So I forgot to put it to 145. I hit 140 again,
No.
and I was like, damn, that was awesome. And I look at the bar and I was like, oh no.
Oh, no.
And then at that point, my body was like, sorry, bro, you don't got no more left.
It's like you're done now. It's like you had your chance, you had your chance,
Yep.
you had your
So
chance, and then you had your
what
chance
I'm
again.
learning is when going for a PR, you can make bigger jumps than you think you can. So if I went, and I thought about it after, if I went from 130 even to 145, I would have probably had it versus like exhausting my nervous system by doing the 1 rep and then trying to go for another PR.
Yeah, and I think that's especially applicable if you're on a day where the intent is to find a new PR, right?
Yeah,
It's like you
100%.
don't want to. So I before I got back into CrossFit, I did a little bit of competitive powerlifting, and I followed like Louis Simmons, Westside Barbell, like
Oh yeah.
conjugate
Oh,
method
that
style
shit's good.
training. Love that stuff. Oh my gosh,
Me
it's
too.
so much fun.
My coach loves it too. My body doesn't like it.
Well, that might be a whole separate side quest, maybe for
For
the
real.
next episode. But what did I mention? Oh, one of the things that Louis Simmons liked to say, he said, especially as you're warming up to your top set, he said that like you never want to take jumps that are so comfortable that you don't have to think about it. He's like, your next warm up jump should be a big enough jump that you really have to focus. Don't be ridiculous, right? If your 1 rep max is 140, right? Don't like have the empty barbell for a set and then throw 45s on. Like
Yeah, don't do
that's
that.
kind of, that's
That would be silly.
yeah, but there's a balance there, right? It's like you also don't need to take 5-pound jumps every set because by the time you even get to that top set, you're fried.
Yeah,
there's too much fatigue there, right?
correct.
So yeah, so like take the big jumps on the way to get there so you have enough left in the tank. But once you get close to it, do not tie your PR. Put on anything extra you can find, the
Yep.
smallest amount to prove to yourself that progress was made. Like small progress is still progress. And
Hmm.
then, depending on how that one felt, take a bigger jump for a number if you're close to a milestone if you want it. Or you can call it there and be like, sweet, I got a new PR and maybe my form stayed locked in. So I know there's more in the tank. And then you just kind of leave that little like nugget for yourself for the future,
Yeah.
right? Of
Yeah.
like, there's still more on the table. I know there is.
Yeah. And that like kind of goes into like everybody thinks that their ceiling is like they're like scraping the surface of the ceiling with their head when the ceiling is like all the way across the street. Like you haven't even touched it. And like last week I was doing build to a heavy set of 10 on the back squat in 15 minutes. By the way, that is the worst way to start your week, just saying.
No.
Um
In
so we did
15
we did
minutes?
it a few weeks prior and I hit
Oh,
135 and I was like, "Okay, so my goal today is to hit 140."
yeah.
So 15 minutes apparently when you're doing sets of 10 is not that much time. I did not know that.
No, that goes
So
by so
I'm at
fast.
120 and I got like 2 minutes left. So I threw 20 pounds on the bar. Or yeah, I was like, this is the jump that I did not want to take, but here we are. Now I will note I felt fine during the workout. However, I definitely threw my back out and it's kind of still hurts.
Oh,
Not
no.
sure if it's related to that because I did a lot of other stuff that day, but I hit the 140 and I was like, oh, I probably could have done 145. I'm glad I
Yeah.
didn't. But it just goes to show you, like, I didn't think that was possible, that I could make a
Yeah.
20-pound jump like that. Usually I'm very like 10 pounds, maybe 15 if we're getting crazy. But
Yeah.
it showed me, okay, I don't necessarily need to do those like small jumps. I can take larger jumps.
Yeah. And okay, and I want to take this conversation and really zoom out on it, right? In terms of like the things that we're talking about here, in terms of like unlocking that new standard for yourself, giving yourself proof that you're capable of doing something that you weren't able to before. So I had a guest on, goodness, it was probably 2 months ago. His name was Matt Howell. I think it was episode 16 of my podcast. And he had just recently climbed Mount Everest,
I remember you saying this.
which is, yeah, it was such a cool story. I like, if that's one that highly look. I highly encourage people to go listen to all of the episodes of my
Yeah,
podcast,
listen to
right?
my podcast.
Specifically episode 23 with someone you all may know.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So yeah. But so Matt talked about that, right? It's like he had been training in CrossFit for probably 10 plus years before climbing Everest, and he had climbed a bunch of other mountains leading up to that. But he accredited like the mental grind of doing CrossFit with giving him the ability to the mental capacity to stay in the game while climbing Everest.
Yes.
Especially, and I'll actually give you a second story that pairs with that. So I actually last week I had a guy, David Phillips, on the show. Those two both climbed Everest together, and they both told me that and this was the part that before talking to them I didn't have a great appreciation for. When they started their day, the day that they were actually going to hit the summit of Mount Everest, they had to start at a camp below what's called the death zone, which is
Hmm.
basically a line that it's like, hey, once you're past this, your body's basically slowly imploding on itself, so you can't be up there for very long. It was 12 hours from that camp to the summit, and then because they're in the death zone, they have to come all the way back down in one shot. So he said it took 12 hours to get there and 15 hours to come back. So they
Dear
had to
Lord.
hike. Yeah, they were hiking for 27 bleeping straight
That's not
hours,
on my
man.
bucket list. Like, I will skip that.
No, I'm hearing it and and it's just it's mind blowing. But what they
Yeah.
both talked about was like the mental preparation they got from the training inside of the gym. And not that you need to do CrossFit to go climb Mount Everest, but think about like the things, whether it's career wise, whether it's you're having some struggle with family, whether it's you're just, you want to improve your relation. Like there's so many other things that it's like knowing that you're capable of doing those things and using the gym as a proving ground almost for it. Like so much of your life outside of the gym is going to improve as a result of that. Right. But you got to give yourself the opportunity to expose yourself to that type of stimulus, right?
Yeah.
So to speak, or
Yeah.
adaptation. So,
I like to say the more
that's
adversity that I face in the gym, the more adversity I can handle outside of it.
100%, a hundred
Hmm.
percent. Yeah. Like, and I think like for most of us going into the gym and getting a workout in is the hardest thing that'll happen to us that day. For a lot of
Yeah.
people. For some
Oh,
people, that's not true. And hey,
100%.
that's I'm the,
I mean, for
you know,
like
and
normal
I'm
people.
doing that by choice, right?
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
doing that by choice. So now something else is going to come in my day. I'm like, well, I already did that hard thing earlier. Like,
Correct.
this is not going to be as hard as, oh, I've got an exceptionally hard bike workout that we did yesterday, which is a total side quest off of the episode you had on my show. But yeah, it's like nothing is going to come close to that level of difficult. What this spreadsheet that broke at work is like,
Yeah.
I'm going
Like,
to
I got
stress
this.
out about that. I'm like,
I just
dude,
did
no.
30
I'm
minutes
like,
of
it's
hell on the
fine.
Echo bike. I got that.
Exactly. So, it's like think about those hard things that are happening in your day to day that are just frustrating, and they all happen to us, right? They happen. If you've already built proof for yourself that day that you can do a hard thing by choice and come out of the other side of it better from it, like nothing else is going to stand in your way.
Yeah, 100%. So you found CrossFit, and then how did you go from just I'm doing CrossFit to now I want to be a coach?
Yeah. So, through my first few years actually back in an affiliate, and it was mainly a result. Goodness gracious, words got hard all of a sudden.
It
Mainly
happens.
as a
I
result of
understand.
like those few years in between where I dabbled a lot in like, some bodybuilding
Yeah.
training, powerlifting, things like that, right? So when I got back into the CrossFit affiliate, if we had, a deadlift day or a back squat day, and I'd give someone some pointers on that, and they'd do it, and it helped, right? And I wasn't coaching, I was just like a member, but I'd see somebody doing something, I'm like, hey, try this. And after a few times of different people being like, hey, have you ever thought about coaching? Then I'm like, maybe I should think about this coaching thing, right? And so
Yeah.
I talked to the owner of the gym that I was in, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this, right? Like, do you guys have, if you guys ever have opportunities or whatever? Turned out the owner of the gym at the time, he was coaching a couple morning classes a week, like early morning classes, right? Um, and what I came to realize, like he was trying to, find coverage for those, that way he could focus on other, business side of the gym stuff. And so the timing worked out perfectly. So we got me into like an internship program where I was basically just like shadowing him and shadowing some of the other coaches and kind of getting a sense of what it's like from the coach's perspective of running a class, right? Because boy, I did not have a great appreciation for what that looked like coaching a class versus being in class. I thought I did until I
You're
sat on the
like
side and watched one.
having to like hoard all of the animals like into the
It
fence. You know
is,
what I mean?
it is
Come on, guys, shut up over
hurting
there.
cats.
Like
Okay,
somebody
that
asking
was
like multiple times, like, what's the workout again? How many reps? What's the weight? Bruh,
well,
it's on the board. Listen.
there's there's that meme that it's like, oh, is it from the floor, from the rack? Can I go to the bathroom? What do we, what's the skill? So, but that, like, and it's funny you mentioned that, because that was the one thing I remember vividly from the first class that I sat in and shadowed, was just sitting on the side and being like, holy crap, like we the members talk so much. Oh my goodness. And it's like,
It's
and
so
it's
funny.
fine, but it just gave me a different perspective. I'm like, okay, cool, that's something we got to do, right? So, got into it from there, went through the internship program, did my level 1, which that was like, I look, if anybody's listening and you've been doing CrossFit for a while, go take your level 1, whether you're thinking about coaching or not. You have to take it if you want to coach in a CrossFit affiliate, but there are so many people, like there's a good amount of people when I was at mine that had no interest in being coaches. That was my first exposure to what the CrossFit methodology is really about, right?
Yeah.
Like
It kind of goes back
behind
to
all
what we
the
were
hard
saying of
workouts.
like giving what you're doing purpose. So it's like, oh, if I
Yeah,
know like the purpose behind these things, then, you naturally become more efficient at doing them.
for sure, 100%, right? It gives context to the reason behind all these hard workouts and different movements and the crazy combination of things that we're doing. And it was something that was just like, it was eye opening for me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable, right? Like now I get it. I feel like that was my
Mhm.
like, um, I don't remember which pill Neo takes in the Matrix to like go down the rabbit hole. Was it the red pill
Either
or the
the
blue
blue or
pill?
the red. So he takes a
Yeah, I'm like, it
pill.
was one of
So
the. He
it's
takes a
whatever
pill and
color
goes
you
down the
prefer to
rabbit
take.
hole, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I did what he did, right? I didn't take the other one. And from there, it was then I got into coaching a couple mornings a week and absolutely loved it. It's so much fun. It is it's stressful, but kind of in the same way we were just talking about, that it's connected to a larger purpose. So like
Right.
it's worth the stress of like
It's something
planning
that you're
ahead of
very
time of
clearly passionate about.
100%, right? It's like if I could have one hand in somebody having a good experience, like when they're starting CrossFit, and that's going to help them come back the next day,
Hmm.
dude, like worth every second of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's it's seeing the moments of people that are on the cusp of hitting a new PR or on the cusp of figuring out a new gymnastics movement. Like, I've had a I've had the great fortune of like helping people like get their first bar muscle up,
Yeah.
and like seeing someone on top of the bar for the first time, and that
Holy
look
shit, I
on
did
their phone, like,
it.
holy shit, look how high I am, right?
Yeah.
Because I also remember that feeling for me. And so
Yeah.
helping someone else get there, and then seeing, like, you just see the confidence of that person walking out of the gym that day. It's like, dude, you're a world record today, right? Like,
Oh
go
yeah.
take that, like what we were just talking about. Go take that attitude and carry that into your work, into your family life. Like, you are a force to be reckoned with now, right? In the
Yeah.
best way possible.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
like I
I
remember when I did my first rope climb, I get to the top of the rope. First of all, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm here." And then it's like, "Oh shit, how do I get down?" But um that's something that most people don't think about, so have a plan. But I remember going throughout that day and just having like this confidence like, "Fuck yeah, I just did that," you
yeah,
know?
yeah, like, and why wouldn't you want that, right? Like, that's so good.
Mhm.
I remember, so there was one, I think we were doing a 1 rep max power clean, maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was power cleans. And I was coaching. There was one lady that I remember, I was watching her, and she was getting close to her PR, and then she like loaded her PR on there, and I could see she was nervous, and I was like, all right, let me just hang back, see how it goes, right? So I'm watching her, and she misses it, right? And it was one of those misses, and you probably have felt this before, where it's like there was nothing wrong technically. It was just like I didn't commit to it. It was like
I've done that so
those
many
ones.
times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where
Where it's
like
just like I just
where
didn't
you watch
believe
the video back and
it.
you're like mid pull and you just push it back down. Like,
Yeah, and
why
you're
did
just
you
like,
do
oh
that?
man, just like what the hell? Why didn't you just get? So I remember I walked over to her, and I just like very very quiet, like, subtly, I went up to her, and I was like, hey, I was like, take a lap around, like, take a deep breath. I was like, what happened? What do you think happened on that lift, right? And then I was like, hey, before you go for this next lift, it's like I want you to take a walk around the gym, and I want you to remember that you're the baddest motherfucker in here. And when you get back to this bar, you're gonna move this weight and you're gonna finish this lift. You don't tell like you tell the bar where it goes. It doesn't have a choice. Go take a lap around and come back and hit this. And she came back and freaking smoked it.
That's
Like,
awesome.
crushed it. And you could just see that look, like that same look of just like,
Yeah.
like
Shit.
freaking, I don't know, I don't know if you're like a Dragon Ball Z, but just like Super
Oh
Saiyan,
yeah.
right? You're just like, holy crap, I have all the power, right? And it was just it's moments like that I live for,
Oh,
right?
I know.
In
I
the
feel
gym,
that.
it's so fun. It's so fun. They don't happen often, right? It's not like that's happening
Yeah.
every day, and it's, so like those little moments where like somebody's leaving, they're like, holy shit, I did something I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do. What
Hmm.
else in my life can I take that attitude towards, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that has been what I've been coaching now for 3 years, like three and a
Yeah.
half years. Yeah, so 3.5 years. Then we moved out to Phoenix. Gym we found, it was actually funny. I wanted to get back into coaching, but like we had just moved across the country, right? So I was like, let
A
me
lot.
kind of settle in here a little bit. Like, let's figure out a routine, like kid drop offs, whatever. My wife got a new job, and and the owner of the gym, so it's actually a husband and wife that own the gym. The wife found my Instagram account and saw that I had like CrossFit level 1 in like my bio, and so she tells her husband, the other owner, and he comes up, he's like, you have your level 1? I was like, yeah. And he goes, do you want to coach? I'm like, yeah, I was kind of hoping to wait. And he goes, no, like we're gonna start now. And
We're
I'm like,
doing this now.
okay. So they did a little Instagram creeping and found me, and I mean, it's so it like I can't talk enough about how enjoyable of an experience it is to be able
Yeah.
to coach CrossFit classes. Um, it's so much fun seeing somebody come in for their first class, and then you try to even start explaining to them what the movements are, and you're like, all right, hang here in this spot next to me, watch what I do, and then I'm just going to give you a little different thing to focus. Like, I remember it was probably about 5 months ago. I was coaching a class that had power snatches, and somebody came in first class, never touched the barbell before. I'm like, sweet, this is it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm like, okay. I remember telling her, I'm like, look, I'm not expecting you to be good at this by the time class is over, but I want you to be safe. I want you to get a good workout in, and I want you to learn something, like, and have fun.
Yeah.
And so I just like set her up next to me, and I'm like, all I want you to do, right, is I want you to hold the barbell with a wide grip or PVC pipe, I think I had her with. Hold the PVC pipe. I want you to jump as high as you can and then catch it with your arms locked out overhead. That's it. That's all I care about you doing, right? And after like a few reps, she was like, "Hey, I think I'm getting it." And it's just like you start to see that it's like especially for CrossFit, because there can be a bit of a barrier in terms of like terminology, skill set, previous
Oh
experiences.
yeah.
If somebody's in for their first class, I want them to leave that class, or at least, as that class is wrapping up, feeling like, oh crap, I am capable of doing this. I'm capable, and this was tailored to my experience, and I can come back tomorrow and I feel like I'm going to be okay. Right. That is such a critical
Yeah, because that's the
component
only
to,
way that they're going to get better at anything is they're obviously not, like you said, they're not going to leave day one being an expert.
yeah,
They're not going to leave day one being that much better than they were, but they can
yeah,
leave day one with curiosity to how can I improve from here?
100%. Like it's going to be a hard workout. I'm
Yeah.
not going to paint I don't want somebody to get this picture painted that it's going to be easy, right? It's not going to be easy. It's going to challenge you. It's going to be difficult, but you're capable, and you need to find that, like, from a coach's perspective, this is where, like, if somebody's going to be new to CrossFit, like brand new, go to an affiliate, because you'll have that coach's eye, you'll have the group around you, you'll have the community aspect, and you'll get that tailored experience to, like, where are you right now, and
Yep.
how can I find something that's going to meet you where you are, and maybe pull you a little bit forward to get you that extra push, so when you're like, wow, that was hard, like that was challenging, but I did it. Like,
Hmm.
that's that type of in the CrossFit level too. They talk about it, it's like building that mastery experience, and where scaling
Hmm.
comes into play with that. But it's like finding that balance between those two things is what's going to help people believe that they can come back and continue to do it over the long term, right? If you make it too
100%.
hard, or you just tell someone, like, and well, ironically enough, this is kind of part of the reason why I started the podcast, right? Was to
Which was my
show
next
this
question,
side.
so it's a nice
Yeah,
little
I know.
caveat.
There we go. um, you know, and even in my story, like, my first experience of seeing CrossFit was the CrossFit Games, and for me, that was a curiosity of like, holy crap, how are they doing that? That's freaking cool. And I'm sure there's a ton of people that are in that boat, right? That their first exposure was seeing the CrossFit Games, right? Seeing Rich Froning handle, double grace to win the games in 2012 or 2013, whatever. I'm not a nerd.
Definitely
And
not.
seeing that, no. Next, you can quiz me on open workouts from the 2020s. I've got all those down. But it's, people saw that and thought, wow, that's what people are capable of. I want to
Mhm.
do that too. And there's also a group of people that see that and think, oh my gosh, that's what CrossFit is? That looks terrifying. Like, that's what they're
Yeah.
going to make us do. They're going to make us get on our hands and, like, fly around on these gymnastics rings and try
Yeah.
to push all this weight overhead. Like, that looks scary. And
Hmm.
so part of the reason why I started the podcast was to talk to everyday people that do it, and say, it's that way we can show the other side of those stories, to say, this is someone that's, you know got a full-time job, they've got a family, they've got whatever else going on in their life, but they also find the time to go in for that 1 hour and go into a class and get their tough workout in, and it's helped benefit them in so many different ways. And here's how I approach this type of movement, or here's how I approach, like, oh, this is the first time, like, a bar muscle up showed up, and, well, I did this variation instead that, like, helped support me, and, like, the coaches were able to find something for me that I could do, that wasn't just forcing me into, like, well, you can't do that, well, I guess you can't work out here. Like, that would be dumb from a business perspective, right? Just think about the business side of that. So it's like, you're like, if you're building up the courage enough to actually walk into a CrossFit gym for the first time, because, like, chances are, if you're finally walking into a CrossFit gym for the first time, you've been thinking about it for a while, right?
Yeah.
Probably a good while, and you're like, oh man, this is that scary thing I keep seeing on Instagram. But damn it, I'm gonna try it, right? And you finally walk in. Like, imagine if somebody then were to say to you, oh, we've got, squat snatches and bar muscle ups. You can't do that? Well, sorry, I guess you can't work out with us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who in their right mind is going to say that, right? Like, one, if anybody did, they're just not going to be in business for a while. It's like, no, you
Yeah.
finally built up the courage to come in here. Come in. You walked in the door. We want you as a part of the group. We're going to find a way to modify the elements of this workout to meet your skill set, so that way you can still get a quality workout in, with everybody else, and everybody can high five and say, wow, that was hard. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind
And
of
I
like
want you to,
people look at CrossFit and they think, oh, CrossFit is bar muscle ups, kipping pull ups, chest to bar pull ups. But bar muscle or CrossFit is also like TRX rows, ring rows. Like
100%.
CrossFit can be modified or progressed or regressed for anybody.
Any single person,
Hmm.
every single person, right? Like, I actually have, I don't know the timing of when this episode is coming out, but I actually just recorded my first solo episode where I literally talk about that whole, like, the phrase CrossFit is infinitely scalable. And
Hmm.
it's like, here's what that means, right? Using the CrossFit level 1 and level 2 handbooks, which are available online. You can literally just Google them and find them, right?
Hmm.
They're a fun read if you want to. I was scanning through them on an airplane recently. But that's like, you can go find that stuff, and I use those as references to basically break down from the ultimate, top of the definition of what CrossFit is, breaking down the levels to say, like, here's what we mean when we say infinitely scalable, and here's why that's relevant and why it's important for every single person that walks in the door, right?
Yeah.
I look at, like scaling workouts is prioritizing your long-term fitness over the importance of any single workout, right?
Hmm.
So, like, if you are coming in and you don't have the ability to do a pull-up, let's say, totally cool. We're going to find a way for you to improve your upper body pulling, because that's going to improve your life outside of the gym. And that doesn't mean we're going to force you to do pull-ups. That means we're going to, maybe work some bands. We're going to work some ring rows. We're going to work some toe assisted pull-ups. Maybe it's dumb, whatever the case is, but we're going to find a way for you to get that same feeling of all the fire breathers that are also doing all the pull-ups, right? Like,
Hmm.
but it's just going to look a little bit different for everybody. And by the way, if you're in class, you're going to look around and you're going to see there's going to be like 12 different variations going on, right? Like, there's a bunch of stuff happening, but everybody's getting that same feeling. That's that word stimulus, right?
Yeah.
But
And I
it's
love how you did touch on like this is going to help you not just inside of the gym, but also outside of the gym because
yeah,
the amount of like, I like to think of it if your doctor's telling you, hey, like your knee hurts, don't squat, I think that's the worst advice possible. First of all, your
correct.
body, yeah, if you don't do it, you lose it. So like if you stop squatting, your body's just gonna be like, oh, we're not doing this, I'm gonna adapt, and you're not gonna be able to do this. But every like my brother is dealing with he herniated a couple discs last year, so he's dealing with the he's okay, but his mind is stuck in that
Mm,
fear cycle, right? Of
yeah.
I can't do squats because they make it hurt. Look, every single day you sit your ass on the toilet. Every single day you sit down in your chair. That is a squat. You can do this. Don't overthink it. Overhead press, cool. We're putting something in the top cabinet. Like you have to be able to look at, oh, deadlift, I'm picking something up off the floor. I'm picking up a box, right? Everything that you do in the gym can be translated into real life and it can make you a better human.
I'm gonna rapid fire a couple of them at you. And actually, it was fun. I had my wife on for an episode. We haven't gone through her story yet, but we will. That's coming soon.
It's
But it
coming.
was more. She actually, it was funny. She actually asked ChatGPT for CrossFit trivia questions, and we just did a whole episode based on that. It was
That's
really funny.
actually
Episode 11.
really
Go check it
fun.
out. But one of the things we talked about was just around, like, the functionality of certain movements, like common CrossFit movements. So, burpees was one that we talked about, right? It's like burpees just kind of suck, right?
I
Like,
love
there's oh, you're one of those. Okay, got it.
I'm a small person though, so it works very to my
Yeah, it's
advantage.
like,
You know, I'll
I
just
think I
fly.
think I just learned a lot about you with that one phrase. No, I'm kidding. But
She's
but
crazy. Okay,
she
noted.
is.
Well, I already like the
But
echo bike. You knew that about me, so I'm a crazy person, period.
you know what? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. These things go together. But you think about a burpee. What is a burpee? It's learning and training your body to get up and down off the floor, right? If you
Hmm.
think about, like, if you think about, and maybe some of you listening have had this experience, right? You have a elderly family member that falls and breaks something, right? Or just maybe it falls and doesn't break something. But if you have the ability to get yourself up off the floor and press yourself up off the floor, you are way more able to live independently into old age, right?
Correct.
The other one that I'll throw in there is, and I'll take these, like, to their natural extreme, pistol squats or any single leg squats, right? uh that helps, and not necessarily doing pistols on their own, but like progressing towards the ability to do pistols. If you think about that, zoom forward, and you're in like your 80s. Well, if you want to stay living in your own house and you have stairs, guess what you need? single leg strength to actually be able to walk up and down stairs, by the way, which
Yeah.
walking down can be harder than going up because you actually have to
Hmm.
brace yourself down. So you need to have the single leg strength to be able to do that. Or guess what? You can't live in that house that has stairs anymore, right?
Yeah.
Squatting, just because my wife said this one, and it was so she's a nurse, and she's like, if you want to get up and down off the toilet when you're older by yourself and not have somebody else have to wipe your butt, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
you
nobody
might
wants
want to
that.
squat. Yeah, and it's like, but all of them are within this spectrum. It's like, yes, you need to squat. No, I don't need you to be a world record setting powerlifting
Yes.
squatter. Right? I
Exactly.
need you to be able to move a little bit of weight and understand how to control your body through a full range of motion into that squatting phase. If you
Yep.
can add some load to it over time, great, awesome. I love it even more. I don't need you to be the best in the world. I just need you to not be the person on the side that's like, oh, my knee hurts, so I'm never going to squat again. Right?
Yeah. And
False
that's like the
alarms.
blurry line that I feel like your podcast kind of connects, is because so many people, like you said, on Instagram, they see Tia Toomey and all of these people doing crazy shit, lifting crazy amounts of weight, and then running really fast and
Yeah.
flying through the air in the rings. And they're like, nah, I can't do that. But
Yeah.
what you show them is, hey, people everyday life who have a full-time job, who are parents, who just want to improve their health, they're doing this too. They're just doing it at a different capacity. It looks different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. I've got a number of guests, right? And by the way, just as a side there, right? All those people that you see on Instagram, they're wildly, wildly impressive. It is unbelievable what they're
They
capable of
have a
doing too, right?
lot
Like
of athletic genetics, but they also, it's what they like. Those
it's their
people,
job.
it's their job to train. They do
Yeah.
not have, like, Justin Medeiros, for example. I watch his YouTube videos all the time, his day in the life and stuff. Legitimately wakes up, eats, does recovery, trains, does recovery, eats, trains. Like, all they
Yeah.
do. And their recovery isn't like, oh, I'm going to go get my 10,000 steps. Their recovery is like, I'm sitting my ass on the couch.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
very different, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, and if you don't have that amount of time to do that much recovery, well, then don't expect to do that same type of volume that they're doing. Like
Right.
you don't need it, especially considering you don't have the physical demands that they have, right? Considering
Yes.
what they get put through at the CrossFit Games, right? It's like you don't need to train 3 times a day if you're just going to be sitting at a desk for your 9 to 5. Like
Yeah.
it's just not, you know what I mean? You can just go into class, push yourself for an hour, hit the stimulus, and go on about your day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love hearing these stories of just the everyday people, right? I mean, we've both had Dave Fennell on. That's an unbelievable story in itself.
Yeah.
And so many of them. And okay, actually, here's one of the cool things about it, right? I like I've got a wide range of stories and interviews from people, and wide range in this context, meaning I have the Dave Fennels, I have the guys that have, climbed Everest, that it's like those stories that you're like, holy crap, like I can't even start to believe that that stuff happened, right? I've also got a number of stories, and that it's like, and I've actually had a couple people tell me this after I interview them. They're like, sorry, that's not exactly like the most exciting story. I'm like, but that's the cool part about it, is
It is. And it's exciting
you're
to
the
other
person that is.
people.
Yeah, it's like you're the person that, look, I'll give you one example. Episode 15, Rocky DePalma. She's a level 2 coach at our gym. She first started working out after she had her first kid in like her early 20s, and then like found CrossFit and then built up from there, right? Like, and she was one of the ones. She was like, sorry, that's not exactly an exciting story. I'm like, yeah, but how many other, you know, moms of a young kid are sitting out there that are just like, it's not like anything crazy is happening. They just kind of lost focus, and they can hear your story and be like, oh, she's been doing CrossFit for 10 plus years. And that's also been a spot for her to be able to like bring her kid, like her kids don't necessarily come and work out, but like that just
Yeah.
became a community of people that she could band around. Like those are the kinds of stories that are way more relatable to the
Yeah.
everyday person,
Yeah.
right?
That's the
And so
word
everybody's
too,
going to
is
find some connection in there.
it's literally like relating and connecting to something. So I've had like my clients on the podcast too, where like I had one of my clients who very, very similar situation. She was very out of shape her entire life, didn't do anything athletic. She had her first kid and was like, I should probably do something about this. And then she found
Yeah.
CrossFit. And it just shows people who are listening, like, oh, you didn't have to grow up as an athlete to do this kind of stuff, like to work out. I just
Yeah.
thought I just wasn't built for the gym. It's like, no, you can start literally whenever. My mom came and visited me last week. And every time she visits me, she's like, oh, I need to, start working out. She thinks she's fat, but she's like I feel like if I hug her too hard, she's gonna break in half. So, but she's very weak, right? She doesn't have a lot of muscle, and as you continue to age, you're gonna lose the muscle if you don't train it, you don't give it a stimulus. So what I tell her is like, hey, just like all we have to do is just lift some weights, right? And what people don't realize is she's 63, you can still start. Like you don't have,
Oh
just
yeah.
because you didn't work out your whole life or you just only did cardio doesn't mean you can't start now. It's never too late. That's what people don't
No.
realize. There was actually a study I heard on a podcast. I can't cite it. I don't know all the details, but I remember them saying that they compared like, regular like 20-year-olds who were just strength training versus 60-year-olds who started strength training, and they
Mhm.
didn't just stop the aging process, they started to reverse it,
Hell yeah.
which
Yeah, I
is
believe that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Through strength training alone.
Yeah, that's not even adding in all the other components of it, right? Of like
Correct.
what comes with CrossFit, right? It's just the weightlifting component itself.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm gonna go off the deep end here for a second. I wonder if a part of that is because you think about what you could have been capable of, and you're like, well, there's no way I could get to that point. And then so you think, well, then it's too late. And it's
I
like,
really
well,
do think it's like related to that all or nothing mindset where it's like, oh, well, I
yeah,
can't get the best. I'm out of my prime, so why even bother? Well, it's like, think
yeah.
about what if you lived to the same age? What if you
Mhm.
were 80 years old? That was it. You were gone after that. What if from 60 to 80, you could live better years than you did from 1 to 60 because you started incorporating fitness?
Yes. Oh my gosh, 100%. Okay, I'm gonna give you two more stories then from previous guests that I've had. One was episode 8 with Jeff Cooper, and the other one was it was a recent one. Oh goodness, hold on, give me one second. I'm gonna look this up. It was a recent episode I had with Stacy Grindle. I just want to look up the number. I think it was 22, but I want to get the number right. You can edit this out. This weird pause later, right? Episode 21. Episode 20.
It was
Stacy
like a two
Grindle. So
second pause, bro. It wasn't even that
yeah, I
long.
know. I'm like, sorry. It's just it's me.
So
Just like,
episode
oh,
8 and
everyone.
episode 21. We got it.
Episode 8 and episode 21. So Jeff, so they were both members at the gym where I used to coach in St. Louis. And they're great. They're awesome. Jeff, he found CrossFit when he was 40. And now he's been doing it for 12 plus years. Actually, so this is a very funny side story. He every year on his birthday now he'll do some crazy fitness related thing. So when he turned 52, he ran 52 miles in a day on a track, like
Oh my
just a high
God.
school track. It was
I was
bananas,
like,
right?
52 miles, that's far. And then you said on a track, and I said, I think I'd rather
just
die.
in a circle, right? It was so funny. So he started like very early that morning, and then he was like posting about it on Instagram.
Oh,
People from the
yeah.
gym were like going out there to like run some laps with him and stuff. And so, and
Yeah.
then you'd have, he had a big whiteboard out there with him at this track where people could write down how many miles they had, and I think he framed it
It's
because
so
it's
cool.
just like that like and so later that night he's we're just following his progress on Instagram. My wife and I went out for dinner that night. We finished dinner and he had just posted something. He's like, I have 5 miles left and I need help, and we had some leftover, so we're like, well, we got a babysitter for like another hour. Let's go see what Jeff's up to. And we
Yeah.
just like walked a mile with him. Like he had like a slice of leftover pizza, and then he finished up. But it like so episode 8 he found CrossFit kind of later. He had it was one of those just like slow build of like not focusing on health, not focusing on his fitness. And then he looked up and he was like, oh crap, I'm like 50 pounds overweight. Then
Yeah.
he found CrossFit, lost the weight, and he's just been consistent. But he talks about now, he's like, my whole goal is to just live the best years of my life in like 60s, 70s, 80s, right? And just
Yeah.
keep this thing going. Stacy, she has been doing CrossFit now for 3 years. She started when she was 50. And
Mm-hmm.
we talk a lot about her story about how all she had heard about CrossFit growing up was, oh, that's not good for your body. Like, that's bad
Yep.
for you.
And that's a
And
lot
pair
of
that
what
with,
people see too.
well, yeah, and pair that with she grew up kind of in the time frame of like, from a female perspective, it was just be skinny, be skinny, be skinny,
Yeah.
right? Not worry
Cardio,
about like
eat
be
less.
strong.
Don't worry about weights. Don't lift those weights. They'll make you
Exactly.
bulky.
You better not. Yeah, right. And so
Ugh.
so those two stories, I'd say, like, if you hear yourself, like, you know you and me, we're on the younger side. So for people that are maybe a little bit older than us, it might be hard. It's very easy for someone to listen to us and then be like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but you're still young, right? So that's why I love telling these stories, because it's like, hey guys, go check out those stories. Those are people that did it. I'm not calling them old, Jeff and Stacy. If you hear this, that's not what I'm saying. but they found it at an age where people would look at that and be like, oh, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm definitely too old for this CrossFit thing. It's like, no, you're not. No,
Yeah.
you're not even close, right? We actually
Hmm.
want you because you're the type of person that could turn this around now and be able to live independently into your 70s and 80s, right?
Yep.
You've still got more time than you believe,
Yeah,
right?
and you want a
To make
higher
this
quality
change.
of life. That's really what it's all
Yeah,
about. It's like if you lived the
for
same
sure.
amount of years, but your quality was so much better, you didn't have to have somebody taking care of you, and you didn't
Mhm.
have to like do what you think happens when you get older. Times have changed. Like if you actually focus on your health in your like before you get to that point where you no longer can do anything, like man, you're gonna see that return on investment.
Well, it's going to pay off so much. It's going to pay off
Hmm.
so much, right? And
Yeah.
in ways that you wouldn't even begin to imagine. Like it's very easy, and this is something that I think is very unique about CrossFit is that it is very easy to only focus on the physical component of what it's
Right.
going to do for you, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, this is a very true statement. I'm sure people have heard this, and I only pause because it's like it can come off a little cheesy until you talk about like the specifics of it. But the community aspect of CrossFit, right? It is so freaking important.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna scroll through my list of episodes here and see who I
I
can
mean,
figure
it
out.
goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode where we were saying like, hey, like health isn't just fitness and nutrition, it's also like social relationships, spiritual stuff. So like
Yeah.
if you have nobody around you, but your nutrition is dialed and your fitness is dialed, like, you're still going to have something missing in your
Yeah.
health.
Yeah, for
Actually,
sure.
there was something there's like a comparison where it's like it's worse for you than smoking a pack of cigarettes today to have poor social health and relationships
Mm,
because it lowers your lifespan.
I believe that 100%.
Hmm.
Um, it's like it is. I mean, it is so critically important, and not just for when things are going well, but for when things start to go poorly, because that's going to happen to everybody, right?
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example. Episode 5. I'm just scrolling through my list. Episode 5. So I had two guests on that episode. Are you familiar with like the First Form Monster Games, that
Yeah.
competition?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, so the two guests, it was Ash Bennett, who's she's one of the owners of the gym. She's the one that found my Instagram page, and Sarah Backus. They were actually they were competing in the team Masters team division at Monster Games this year. They finished second, so they're
Nice.
badasses.
Yeah.
Sarah talked about her at, like while she was doing CrossFit. I think it was both of her parents passed away at some point, and the members at the gym that she was at, they like organized meal trains for her, and they were just like they were
Yep.
right there to support, right? And it's like those are the kinds of things that like you can't put a number on that the level of importance of things like that. It's just
Oh yeah.
people that like this is where CrossFit gets the phrasing of cult, right? But it's like
Right.
but you talk about like, okay, let me list off some positives for you. You're going to get healthier. You're going to get fitter. You're going to get stronger. You're going to improve your social relationships. You're going to improve your mental toughness. And you're going to have a better social circle around you. If that's a cult, I'll take it. Right,
Yeah, same. Like I'll take
100%
that cold all day long. The thing
all
is,
day long.
like
Right.
people just think because it's different from societal norms that it's bad. It's like, no, honestly, in order to be your best self, you need to be different than what
Yeah.
societal norm is.
Yeah. I think I heard. I saw this quote. I think it was Mark Manson, the guy that wrote "Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck." And he posted something on Instagram. It was like, these days normal, like, people financially in these days normal, it's like a bunch of debt, like society socially, it's like not having relationships and blah blah blah. All these
Hmm.
examples. He was like, fuck normal, be weird, be
Yep.
weird.
Yep.
Why not?
I embrace my weirdness every day because my weirdness is what makes me
100%.
better, and I think everybody's the
Yeah,
same way, you know?
yeah, for sure. And it's like if I just be my normal weird self, then I don't have to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. So just
Correct.
embrace being weird. When somebody's looking at you like, oh, you're doing that CrossFit thing, that's weird. You know what I say?
Damn
Yeah,
right I
it
am.
is. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for
Absolutely.
recognizing that in me.
So my last question is what's next for Silverback Media? Like where do you want to take this?
Ooh, okay. So my big focus is continuing to bring these stories to people, right?
Yeah.
I want to I I have a couple of ideas coming in the next year that I'm going to bring to fruition. And my big thing when I really stop and think about it is I want more people doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
And for the sole purpose of, and I've said this in a couple episodes before, but I'll just kind of like air it out here, right? I believe, okay, let's do it this way. What are the top three things, Caitlin, that you think that your life that has improved in your life as a result of doing CrossFit?
My mindset,
Okay.
my outlook on life, which I guess are
Okay.
kind of the same thing.
Sure. But
My performance and my physique.
okay, got it. So now imagine if we doubled the number of people in the world doing CrossFit.
Our world would be so much better.
That's what I'm saying,
So much better.
right?
I would be much less pissed off at people.
Yes, that person that's like floating through the grocery store aisle
Yeah.
that has no clue what's going on. You're like,
Go.
"Ugh."
Why
He's
are
like,
you
pick a
standing in front
side,
of the thing
right,
that I
Dustin?
need for 10 minutes?
And just in the middle looking around, like pick a side. No, okay, sorry,
If
sidetrack.
you did CrossFit, you'd have more purpose in life. You'd move a little bit faster.
Yeah, you just weave around him. But jokes aside, like if anybody within the sound of my voice, if you do CrossFit, right, think about the things that have most improved in your life, and then think, how would the world look? How different would our world look if you just doubled the amount of people doing CrossFit, right? I truly think more people doing CrossFit makes the world a better place.
I
Um,
couldn't agree more.
in we don't have to get into specifics of how, and this is not,
Right.
well, I'm not even going to bring anything else up. So my goal, my purpose behind this is to figure out how do I get more people doing CrossFit. I have a couple of ideas that I will be coming with in the next year, or in 2026, where, to put it shortly, I'm going to be putting my money where my mouth is on that bet. So that's what I want to, that's where I want to take this, is not just bringing the stories to light of the people that are in it, everyday people that are in it and are changing their communities as a result of it. But I also want to then take it to that next step of how are we physically actively getting more people into CrossFit gyms so they can experience it as well and have their lives potentially change too.
I
Because
love it.
if I just stop and think about like all the things that have improved in my life as a result of it, um, like if I even it, it's borderline emotional starting to think about like what that could do if more people are in there, right? Like just those, like we even talked about those little moments of like somebody hitting a PR, somebody getting their first
Yeah.
gymnastics movement. Here, I'll give you an extra one. Because this hasn't necessarily come up yet. So the episode I have coming out next week, relative to when
Yeah.
we're recording this, right? So it'll be episode 26. Her name is Katie Nelson. One of the things we talk about a lot is that CrossFit gyms can be, there's that whole like third place theory, right? That like people have like, they have their house, they have their work, and
Right.
then now these days there's kind of a lacking of like this third place, right? Where like, and we talk about a little bit that like for a lot of people it used to be church, but now as that's kind of like dwindling for some people, we talk about like, well, what is the potential for like CrossFit gyms being that, right? And one of the things that we talked about as a result or as a reason for that is that like there's not a lot of places where you can go do something and you genuinely have people that are happy to see you, that know your name, and that when you do something hard, that they're like, hey, good job. Like
Mind blowing.
it's such an underrated, mind-blowing thing that
Hmm.
like there's a lot of people that just don't have anybody to look at them and say, hey, you know what, i can see I see that thing that you're working towards, I see how hard you're working, and I believe in you, I believe that you're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And part of me saying this is me talking to myself too, so that way it's recorded so I can go back and listen to it and whenever we're in the muck and the shit of building all this. But it's like having a place where people can say like, I see the effort you put in and I'm proud of you and I hope you're proud of yourself and I believe in you that you can keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like there's just not a lot of places where that's available for people, and that 100% it's available for people in a CrossFit gym. And so I
100.
want people to feel that, because
Amazing.
like it, sorry, now I'm just kind of ranting, but whatever. we're, hey, we've been recording for coming up on 2 hours. If you're still with me, you're listening. You're stuck
Right.
here.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, seriously. One of the things that, and I say this whenever I'm coaching a class when we're getting ready to start the WOD, right? Right before I hit the remote for like the 10-second countdown, I say, hey, here's the workout, here's the stimulus, right? Here's the time frame, number of rounds, whatever. And I believe in every single one of you. And I throw that out there. And part of it is joking, right? There's a couple people that laugh like, haha, we believe in you too, right? There's always those couple people. But there is a small part of me that feels or believes that one day I'm going to say that. And I may never know when this happens, right? And that's okay. That's not the point. But one day I'm going to say that, and there's going to be somebody that's in that class that's going to have never heard those words said to them before. That's never heard someone say, hey, I believe in you.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh shit, he believes in me? Well, maybe I should believe in me too. Well, damn. And then they're going to take that and run with it. So
Yeah.
if you're still with us this far into this, I believe in you. Keep going. You can do it.
Hell yeah. I think that's the best way to end it too.
Goodness gracious. Sorry.
Amazing. Well,
that was
it was great,
like
man. It was great. Well, I'm going to put all of Marco's information down below. His podcast is going to be linked below. Instagram, make sure you go follow him, listen to the podcast, and go out and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.